Hi guys, today we're going to be doing 3 different pours. They're just basic beginner pours and it's just to kind of give you an idea of how to get started. Today I'm going to be using fluorescent colors. So I've got a fluorescent blue, reflex green, fluorescent pink, fluorescent orange, and fluorescent yellow. I have a white base. I also have a black one mixed up in case I feel like doing one of those, but for right now I'm just going to work with the white. So our first one, we're going to do a flip cup. Now for flip cups, you just pour your paint into a smaller cup, layer it on top of each other, and then flip it. I've had a video on this before, but I'm going to run through it real quick with you guys just to give you a little bit of a rundown in case you haven't seen that one. So I am going to take my white base and I'm going to pour just a little bit on there. Get it going and spread it out. Guess I probably should have went ahead and put my gloves on, but I'll go ahead and take care of that. And start spreading it out. We just want to get a little bit of a layer on here so our paints move around a little bit easier. So I'm just going to take this and spread it out. I like to get the edges and the corners, so whenever I do go over with my colored paint, it will go over all the edges and not get stuck there at the very edge of the painting. Sometimes they like to stick and not go exactly where you want them, and this helps out. So I'm just going to spread this over just like this. Get my corners, my edges, all that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get as much as on there as you can. All right. Now, for this flip cup, I think what I'm going to do, I've got two little, I think these are 1 ounce, maybe these are 2 ounce cups. So it's an 8x8 canvas. I don't need quite 4 ounces. Probably really only need about 2 ounces of paint, but I'm going to split them up into each of these cups. I think I'm going to do my blues and greens in 1 cup and then my yellow, orange, and pink in the other. So with my blue and green, I think I want to split it up a little bit with some white. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour in my first color. And keep in mind that whatever color you pour on the bottom of your cup is going to be the color that comes out on top. Since you're flipping it over, whatever's on bottom is going to come out on top. So basically put them in the opposite order of where you want them to go. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of that white in there just to kind of split it up a little. Then I go with my green. And then a little bit more white. Now these do not have any silicone oil in them. You can do silicone oil and get a little bit of a more cell action, but with this one, the white is going to help make some more cells on it. So I'm not going to fill this cup up all the way. I've just got it, I don't know, about 3/4 of the way. All right, now these other ones, the orange, pink, and yellow, I'm going to leave separate. I'm not going to put the white in there. You can, you don't have to. It's up to you. That's the beauty of pour painting, is that there's so many different ways you can do this. Pink. And then I'll do another little bit of orange, more yellow. This yellow kind of likes to disappear a little bit, so I use a little extra. And then pink again. All right, So we have a cup of our pink, yellow, and orange, and a cup of blue, green, and white. Now from here, I'm just going to decide where exactly I want to set them, and then I'm going to flip them over. If you didn't already have a white base on there, you could take your canvas and flip it on top of that. Makes it a little easier and paint doesn't go everywhere. But since we did this way, we're going to just flip it on over and get it as much as on the canvas as possible. So I think I want my blue and green in the middle. So I'm going to take it and dump it. And then I'm going to take, let's go here. That one didn't dump quite as well. I made a mess with that one. From here, let it set for a second. Paints kind of flow down the cup and mix together and start forming cells and everything. And I think what I want to do is go ahead and lift my orange one first and then let the blues go over it, because the blue disappears a lot in these. So I'm hoping I can keep a little bit more. Now, from here, you can either just lift directly up and let all the paint flow out, or you can drag it along, kind of lift up a little bit, like that. Now, you don't have to do this, but a lot of times you'll have a little bit extra paint in your cup, and you can get your corners with it. That way, whenever you do go to stretch it, you're not having to worry again about it not going in the places that you want it to go. So this is just gonna come on out. Might throw some around in here. Just play with it, see how you like it the best. For my blue, I think I'm gonna come and do this way. All right. So this is what we've got so far. And now from here, if you have a torch or a lighter or anything that will make a flame, you can go ahead and pop some of your air bubbles. That'll help make some more cells as well. When those bubbles pop, they spread open and let other paints through. Okay, so from here, I am just going to start moving it around and see if I like it. Let's see. And you'll see how that blue just kind of got swallowed. But I'm going to pour quite a bit off because I did use a lot of paint. But I like to use my paint skins. So a paint skin is just where after you've poured, you have all this paint left on the table. If you just let it sit there and dry, you can peel it up and you have basically just a little skin of paint that you can use in other artworks, or you can use it to make jewelry. There's all kinds of things. So it's not a complete waste if you accidentally use too much paint. There's always ways to reuse it. So let's see. I think, let's go right there. That white really just made it all pop out. I like the contrast of the bright orange against the almost pastel fluorescent colors. I think that's a nice little break part. All right, so from there, all you have to do You can torch again, make sure that you have all your little bubbles out. And depending on how hard you go on it, you'll get these little guys, especially on the white. If you torch it for long enough, it'll start to break apart more. And so you'll get all these tiny cells, which I happen to like. Not everyone does, but I do. I think they're really cool, and they just give like this really pixelated effect. All right. So that's a dirty cup pour. Quick, easy, simple, straightforward. Layer your colors, any order that you want, and then just dump them on there. Move it around until you are happy with what you have, and that's it. That's the basic of the first pour. So we're going to go ahead and get this out of the way and move on to the next one. Be right back, guys. All right, we are back. And we've got our fresh canvas. So the next one I am going to do is going to be a dirty pour. So I have this little 3-ounce silicone cup. It's got a little pour spout on it. You can use any cup that you want. This I just like because of the little spout. It makes it easier to control. So for this one, I'm going to add some silicone this time. Today I'm going to be using this Super Lube silicone oil. It's okay, it's not my favorite. This happens to be my favorite. It's a coconut milk anti-breakage serum by OGX. It's a hair product, but it works fantastic. But today we are going to try out this one and see what kind of results we get. For it, what I am going to do is going to take my colors and mix in a drop in each. So you can do as many drops as you want really, but I recommend 2 to 3, and depending on how vigorously you stir it is going to determine how many, or not how many, but how big or how small your cells are. So what I want to do is take, okay, I didn't really want to use more of these, but this will be the easiest way to show you. So I'm going to just take some of my blue, some green, all of my colors, yellow, pink, and orange. You can use the white as well as you want if you want. I think I actually might. I think I might go ahead and use some white as well. So what we want to do, take our oil and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. It really does not take a whole lot to get a lot of cell action with these silicone oils. So I really recommend that you start off small and then build up from there if you're experimenting with different things and stuff. So I am stirring this very, very gently. I don't want very tiny cells. I want kind of bigger ones. So I am going to just 1, 2. That's it. That's all I want to do. Sounds crazy. You'd think that, no, there's no way that's mixed in. But, crap, I didn't mean to do that. It mixes better than you think. All right, a couple more. All right, and that's all the stirring I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to take my colors and start layering them into my cup. I think I want to start with the blue this time and see if we can get a little bit more blue to pop out. So I am not going to be using a base on this one because I think we're going to have enough paint in this cup that we can go ahead and stretch it all the way across the canvas and not have to worry about it. So let's see, pink or green. Let's go with the pink. And I'm just layering them in there just like the last time. I'm putting a layer of white in between each. You don't have to add a lot because the white kind of takes over sometimes. Some yellow. Let's do green. And orange. Just a little bit more white. Okay. So from here, you can do little designs in it and mix it up in the cup already, or you can go ahead and just start pouring. I am going to go ahead and just start pouring. Got little sprinkles everywhere. Okay. Now, I'm going to start in the middle. You can start anywhere you want. You can do it in circles. You can do it waves. Any direction you really want. Just try different ways and see which ones you like the best. I think today I'm going to go kind of in a little bit of a circular motion and see what that gets us. And I'm just pouring. That reminds me of like Nickelodeon slime. I'm kind of going in a circle, but I'm never very good at that. All right. Now, when you're doing a ring pour or something similar like this, if you do not put a base on there, your rings are going to start flowing over each other a little bit, which isn't a problem, but if you're wanting a specific design and you know exactly where your colors, where you want them and stuff, you may want to go ahead and put a little bit of a base around it just to get it flowing. So if I wanted to, I could stop now and go ahead and put some white around it. So this would start flowing over the white instead of flowing over itself. And I'm finishing out now. I think I'm gonna do this back and forth just like this to finish it up. Now, and that's what we got there. I kind of like this design, so I think I am going to add just a little bit of more white around the edges just so we don't lose all of it. We did have quite a bit of white in the cup with it, so I don't want to overdo it and have it eat everything. Okay, just a touch, just to get it moving. especially on these edges. That's the part I always worry about the most, because they like to flip on the side and not go. They kind of just get stuck there at the edge sometimes. All right. I'm gonna torch it. Get some of these cells to start forming. Ooh. Yeah. And we're gonna start stretching it. This one looks pretty crazy, guys. Let's see. I think just a little bit more. And there's that. All that silicone oil breaking apart the cell into cells. And don't forget to scrape your edges once you're happy with your design, because if you don't, you run the risk of the paint coming all the way off and your painting will shift and change as it dries. It's probably going to change just a little bit anyways as it dries, just because of the nature of the fluid paint. But running your finger along the edge of it like this will keep the paint from on the canvas from sliding off because of it being heavy. And I just spread paint all over this one from my gloves. It happens. So I think it's time for a new pair of gloves, just in case we don't want to do that again. So if you ever have something like that happen, I don't know if you guys can really see where I just did that, but it's right there in the middle. And if you don't like something, just kind of start touching a little bit, and you can move it around a little bit and get it to where you want it. See, kind of just disappears. Okay, I'm going to torch this one more time, and then we will move on to our last one. These cells came out beautiful. All right, and there's that one. So we've had our flip cup, our dirty pour / ring pour, and we've worked with silicone. Now we're going to do a swipe, which is probably one of my favorite methods just because I love the results. I'm just going to teach you the basic straightforward swipe where we're going to layer our colors and then pull down. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back with our last canvas, and we are going to do our swipe. Alright, now for a swipe, all you really need are your colors and then another color that you're going to take and add silicone to. You don't have to add it to all of your colors, just your basic one that you're going to pull down across all the other ones. In this case, I'm going to stick with white just to do something different. I use black with the fluorescence a lot, so we're going to use some white and just go with it and see how it does. And on this one, we're just going to do a basic swipe. So I'm going to leave this first little part of the canvas, and then I'm going to start pouring my colors in stripes down the bottom of it. You don't have to do it in just this way. You can do them at an angle. You can do them in a circle and then swipe that. There's all different kinds of ways to do a swipe. This is just the basic, straightforward, beginners. All right. And again, I think, let's start with the green this time. Let's go, and you don't need a whole ton of room for your swiping color, just enough to get some on there. And these do not have to be even lines either. You can just start pouring them however you want. I've got 5 colors, so I'm kind of trying to just get my idea of where I want them. Let's do pink. And yellow. And the orange. And again, try to go ahead and get your edges. It'll make your life a lot easier in the long run. And that way you don't have to go back and paint on them or redo them. I probably didn't spread these out quite as well as I really wanted to, but no big deal. Fluid art is pretty forgiving. If I'm being pretty honest with myself, it's probably one of the reasons I like it the most. Because even if you mess up, you can always go back and do it again, or you can play around with it until you're happy with it. If you don't like a pour, try swiping around on it a little bit before you decide that you want to toss it. And honestly, sometimes I'll pour something and I'll hate it to begin with, but I'll go ahead and just let it dry, and once it dries, it becomes one of my favorites. It's really hard to tell how much you're going to actually like something until the drying happens, because a lot of times the colors do change and you get different patterns than what you actually started with whenever you left it. It's always going to change a little bit from when you initially poured. So it's a good idea just to, every once in a while, just take a step back and let it dry and then go from there. And if you don't like it once it dries, it's easy enough to put a layer of gesso on it and start over again. You can pour on top of one that's already been poured on without putting a layer of anything on it, but just make sure that you don't have transparent paints for your covering layer, because the bottom layer will show through if you do it that way. Okay, so we've got our lines, basic. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and swipe some of this, mix the colors a little bit, but for today, we're just going to go ahead and put some silicone in our white and put it right here. Now, we already had a little bit in here, but I need a little bit extra white. Probably didn't need quite that much, but... And again, a couple of drops of silicone. Stir. I'm going to stir this one a little bit more. Show y'all the difference in the cells. I'm stirring this one very vigorously to see if we can get smaller ones. Now, for your swiping tool, before I pour that down, you can use a paper towel, you can use a piece of saran wrap, you can use one of these. Why can I not think of the name of it right now? But anyways, anything that you can use to pull paint down is going to be a viable option. Today I'm just going to use a paper towel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spray bottle and just kind of mist on it a little bit and get a little damp. It doesn't have to be soaking, sopping wet. Just dampen it up a little bit. I did about 3 or 4 squirts. You see, it's still pretty stiff, but it's got a little bit of wetness to it. So from there, I'm just going to start pouring my white on here. And guys, whenever you use silicone oil on a canvas, sometimes it's going to push your paint completely off the canvas and you'll have little naked spots. Don't worry, you can always go back and fill it in with other paints or any other methods that you want to use to fill that in, or you can go back and pour, but it does sometimes tend to push paint off the canvas. Just keep an eye out on it, it'll be fine. Okay, now I'm just going to take my napkin, set it down into that white, just like that, and then I'm going to slowly start pulling it down. Just like that. Don't go terribly fast, just kind of slowly start pulling it. And when you get to the end, just kind of let it fall off. Just like that. And that's a swipe. And you'll start seeing all the cells forming and all that, all the colors mixing. I'm going to take my torch and see if we can kind of help it along. Awesome. Okay. You don't have to move these around, but I do kind of like to shift mine a little bit, especially like here on the edges. Sometimes they don't get as well, especially with the swipe method. I think, you know what? I'm going to take it all the way back to the top. And gorgeous. And I think I want that corner a little bit more. Yeah, just like that. Beautiful cells. And there's that. And guys, that is a swipe. Very simple, straightforward. Once you get a hang of these 3 methods, it's really easy to figure out the next ones, the more advanced ones. These are just basic, beginners, pours. So we had a flip cup, we had a dirty pour, and we had a swipe. Those are just 3 that you can get started with, especially if you're just wanting to try out fluid acrylics and acrylic pouring. It's a real easy way to get started, especially if you don't know a whole lot about the methods and all that. Guys, I promise once you start, it's going to be addictive. Get out there and grab you some paint, some Floetrol, and start mixing. Typically, I know I say I don't measure out my stuff, and I don't, but it's going to be around a mixture of 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. And then I usually have a couple of splashes of water. It's not even a part of water. It's just splashes until I get it the consistency that I'd like. If you add too much water into them, the paints will start breaking down, so you have to be extra careful about that. All right, well guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit of something. If you have any questions about any of these methods, just let me know below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will be bringing you more videos later on this week. Y'all let me know what you'd like to see next. Any type of method that you want, any particular paint colors that you'd like to see, just shoot me a comment and let me know. Guys, I'll see you guys next time. Later.